Welcome back inside the Veterans Memorial Arena here on Friday night, and as the Binghamton Senators in a cross-divisional affair taking on the Portland Pirates. And it's my pleasure to welcome in for my intermission guest, defenseman Craig Schira. And Craig putting together a nice rookie season here at the American Hockey League level. You come out of the Western Hockey League. I guess first of all, whenever you talk to a rookie player coming into the professional side of things, talk about that transition and some of the challenges you faced early on.
Well, for me, it was definitely the speed and the size were the two biggest things for me. I think I'm getting it now, but off the start, it was quite the adjustment. The guys you're playing against real men now, and they're a lot bigger and a lot faster. And for me, that was the biggest adjustment.
Going to bring up the size here in just a moment, but when you talk about Western Hockey League play, the style of play to the American Hockey League, some similarities or some vast differences?
There's a lot of similarities. I'd say more than the differences. It's a fast-paced game, and the Western League is very physical, and that's what it's pretty much known for, and so is the American League. And so I think that's why I was able to adjust the way I have, and it was good for me with all the similarities, and other than the fact that the guys are a lot bigger and stronger, it's quite the adjustment to make.
Not only coming in from the Western Hockey League as a player, but first-year head coach here in Binghamton, Don Nachbauer, obviously a little bit familiar with his name, I'm sure, maybe familiar with the teams he has coached out there and that style. Did that make that transition a little bit easier with both of you coming here?
Yeah, I think so. I played against him for 4 years, I think, and I obviously knew who he was before I got here, and he's a good coach, and he knows a lot about the game. He obviously knows a lot about the style of game that I played in the junior leagues, and I was able to adjust here for that.
Now, you mentioned size earlier, and one of the bigger challenges that you faced coming in here, and a little bit smaller as far as a defenseman is concerned, but I really think you play much bigger than your size. Can you maybe comment on that a little bit, because you're not afraid to stick your nose in there and get dirty and go at it with the big boys?
Yeah, that's pretty much the way I played my whole life. I was always taught never to worry about how big the guy is. Just get in there. It doesn't matter if you get knocked down when you go to hit him. Just try and knock him off the puck, and that's what I try to stick to. It's just the basics of physical play, and that's what I've tried to stick to my whole career here.
Now, a little bit of an offensive talented players. We're talking with Craig Schira, rookie defenseman with the Binghamton Senators. Your last 4 years of junior hockey, averaging 37 points a year. And with that, can you talk about, were any expectations brought into the professional side of things when you've been able to produce on the offensive end here coming into the American Hockey League?
Yeah, I think it's always expected of me. Obviously, I'm not, like we said, I'm not the biggest guy, so I'm not expected to be a total defensive D-man. So I think it's always expected of me, and they've given me the opportunities in those situations. So when they put you out there, they're expected for you to perform out there. So you got to go out there and do what you can to get those goals, and that's what I've been trying to do, and hopefully they're pleased with what they see.
Well, I'm pleased with what I've seen. I don't know if that matters to you or not, but
of course
it's been fun watching you so far this season. Being an offensive player and obviously having that in your resume is a little bit more difficult when you come into the professional side of things, where I think the defensive responsibilities are really more focused upon. Certainly they want to see that production, and they meaning the coaching staff along with the higher-ups in the Ottawa Senators organization, but they want to see the offense, but they also want to see that responsibility on the back end, really what a defenseman is.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be able to play everywhere on the ice. It's something that I'm continually working on, my defensive and offensive game. I want to try and bring them together so I can, kind of be good at all areas of the ice. And, adjusting to the defensive style game in the American League is tough, but I think I'm getting it, Like I said, it's a lot faster and the guys are stronger, so I got to worry about getting stronger in the weight room and bringing that on the ice.
And certainly a tough question to pose to a Canadian with the most recently completed World Championships, in which USA took down Canada in overtime on Tuesday night. But talk about international play, the Memorial Cup, which you've been able to kind of see. You haven't been able to participate in it, unfortunately. The Olympics as well. I think the United States is starting to kind of gather a little bit of steam as far as that feel and that patriotism when it comes to international play. But talk about it from a Canadian perspective. It just seems to be taken to a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously from Canada, it's a great place to live, and times like this, the World Juniors, the Olympics, it's pretty exciting. Everybody's getting up for it, and people have been talking about it for a long time already, and it's still going. The atmosphere is great in Canada, and it's going to continue on like that, I think.
All right. Well, Craig, congratulations on a great start to your rookie season here in Binghamton, and continued success as this year continues to unfold.
All right, thank you.
Defenseman Craig Schira, my guest here between the second and third periods tonight as the Binghamton Senators taking on the Portland Pirates. We'll be back with more in just a moment here on the Senators Hockey Network.